Everyone, welcome back again, and today you join me driving an iPad on wheels. That might sound confusing, but it's soon going to make perfect sense when you see everything that I've got to currently show you in this car that just arrived yesterday. So same again, by the time you're watching this it will have been here a few days, but it literally did just arrive yesterday. It's brand new 22 plate Mercedes GLC300D. Which, why do no cars these days just have a normal name? Why have they all got to be so bloody complicated? This car just arrived yesterday. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it is such a nice car to look at. But obviously in today's video we are going to talk about whether it's actually a nice car to own and whether it's actually a nice car to drive as well, because they're technically the most important things. This car is super high tech. It's completely taken my head for a spin so far, trying to work out what all these little buttons and controls do. As always, we're going to do a little walk around first, then we're going to take it out for a drive and we're going to see what we think.
Cue tracks.
So here she is from the outside, and what an absolute beauty. You cannot deny that this car looks absolutely amazing. Even if you're not a Mercedes kind of person, you can't deny that this thing is beautiful, especially with it fully blacked out, including that massive, huge black grille with all like the chrome detailing. So let's have a look at the front. So we've got the front parking sensors just hidden down there. We've also got like a full gloss black splitter, which is all standard. This car is exactly how it left. It's not been modified in any way. LED lights, which are super cool. These are also the indicators, which is nice. We've got 20-inch gloss black wheels, which obviously have to go with the fully blacked out look. It would be stupid not to. And around to the side, got gloss black everything, so gloss black mirrors. Also got gloss black side stepper, which is a really nice addition, because this isn't the biggest car in the world, but it's also nice to be able to have that little step. Got blacked out glass, all tinted all the way around in the rear. It looks really aggressive from the back. So we've got this really sporty style diffuser. Really like this car. Hate to admit it, but I really do. It's just got such a presence, such an aggressive look about it. Into the interior. Right, this is like a spaceship, and this is what I mean when I say that this thing is an iPad on wheels. Very interesting. It's very confusing at the same time, but once you get to grips with it, it's actually really cool. So I'm going to obviously give you a little rundown of everything that we need to know in this interior. So start with the steering wheel. This steering wheel is absolutely lovely, by the way. It is really nice. It's got really nice trim on it. Flat bottom, which everybody loves. Everybody loves the flat bottom steering wheel. We've got all of the buttons on here, which look confusing to start with, but this bit is not the most complicated. So when we start to get in everything else. Up front here on the steering wheel, we have got the buttons for home, got a back button, you've got your cruise control settings, and then on this side, same again, you've got home, back, you've got volume, pick up to, and answer the phone, voice recognition. Don't know what that star is. That's a mystery star. The thing I do want to talk about is these little buttons here. So I accidentally touched these by accident, and I was like, whoa, things are moving on the screen. So these are actually like a little touch control for the actual dials. Ton of different little settings here, which can all be controlled using that little touch thing, which is super cool. Like, that is so nice. Like, literally just something as simple as a little touch screen square to control things. It's just, I don't know, it's nice. Trip computer, so that's just your normal stuff. So you've got miles per hour there, which I would say that's like the one that I would have it on all the time, because I hate it when people, you know, like companies make these dials, but the ones that you use the most, like 30 mile an hour and 70 mile an hour, they just don't put on there. I don't know why, it does my head in. So I've got the average miles per gallon, which is 38.2, and 30 mile per hour average speed. Yeah, so that gives you, like, from your last journey, it will give you like the figures for that specific journey, which is quite cool. We've got navigation, which brings up the navigation, which you can also have on here, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Radio, obviously we're listening to Kiss or Kiss3. Well, it was on Kiss3 actually, that's the, you know, the goated radio station. Phone, connect phone, and design. Now this bit is so cool, so this is like a bit of me, this is. One thing I will always say about Mercedes, and I will always big them up for, is that they always have the most beautiful interiors. Well, the recent Mercedes do. I think some of the older Mercedes is a bit questionable whether you think it's beautiful or not, but the new Mercedes, you cannot deny that their interiors are beautiful, and it's one thing that Mercedes definitely know how to do. And one thing I always love so much about Mercedes is like the mood lighting and everything like that. This whole like being able to change the colours on your dials, I absolutely love that. Like, fair, I think progressive is, I think that is so ugly, isn't it? Classic's a bit boring, so I've had it in sport. I think we're going to keep it in sport. And then you've also got one on this side which controls this screen over here, which, oh my god, like it's so technological. Let's move on to this screen over here. So it's quite similar to what you get on here, but obviously in just a bit of a bigger time scale. So we've got navigation. Now, first things first, this screen is really, really nice. Like, not outdated or anything. I mean, obviously, if it's a brand new car, it's a 22 plate, but you know, sometimes car screens aren't the most like up to date. But this genuinely does feel like an iPad or something. Like, it's super responsive. The quality of the like picture on the screen is really, really good. Comfort. Now, this is where we get to the good stuff, which is like all the ambient lighting. Now, it's not on at the minute because it's daytime, and I actually have no idea how you turn it on, because I feel like you need a degree in like, I don't know, technology to be able to work this thing. But you can set all the ambient lighting to like different colours. I like red moon. I think that's really, really, really nice. So we're going to set it to red moon, even though it's not on and I don't know how you turn it on. Info. That gives you all stuff about the car, random figures like horsepower, newton meters. I'm guessing that would be more interesting when you're driving. But one thing I'm going to say is, who on earth looks at this while they're driving? Like, surely that's an accident waiting to happen. You've got your consumption there, owner's manual, which is quite cool. Like, you can have your owner's manual actually on the screen in the car. And then we've got settings for the actual car, so you can have like that's to do with it being towed, assistance, traffic sign assist, brake assist, attention assist, everything's bloody assisted. But it's all nice and on such a really, really nice touchscreen. Like I said, some of these cars nowadays will come with these touchscreens and they feel like a tablet from like 2010, but this feels really, really nice. It's super up to date. Obviously, like I said, the car is brand new. Nice. It's like a wood effect, like a black wood effect, which is pretty unique. Like, you don't really see like this kind of effect very often. And then we've got like controls here. So you've got the controls for like all the air conditioning, the climate control, your windscreen misting and all that jazz. Again, we've got like more buttons. These are basically same again to control that. So you can put like, if you press the navigation button, that'll bring navigation up on there. If you press radio, it'll bring radio up on there. A bit confusing as to why you would have the buttons there when you can also do it on there, but I suppose when you are driving, you're not going to want to be pissing about like putting things on there. You're just going to want to press a button and bring it up. One thing I will say about these buttons is I'm not a big fan. They do feel a bit like plasticky. I know that's a big thing with Mercedes. Everyone says, oh, the interior is really plasticky. I would say the only bit that I think is plasticky on this interior is this. Everything else genuinely feels really, really, really nice, and it's got a really nice quality to it. You've got a little compartment down here. Oh no, my polarising lenses fell off. Oh, bear with. Don't tell me you're broken. Paid £5 whole for this lens. We have got, I can only assume, is more buttons. For the home screen, how many home buttons do we need? We've got 3 so far, so we've got 3 home buttons. What else have we got? So we've got start, stop. We've got dynamic. Now this is an interesting button. So this changes the mode in which the car is in. Oh no, why is the screen not showing on there, but it's on? Oh, it is, but it's just gone really dim on the camera. Oh gosh. So yeah, so we've got down here a dynamic button. Now this can change what mode you put the car in. So you can have it in comfort, you can have it in sport, sport plus, individual. Now, I don't know whether you can hear this when on the camera. You might not be able to. It's noticeable in here, but the audio might not pick it up. But when I put it into from comfort, it goes really, really quiet. And then if I put it into Sport Plus, I'm guessing some kind of valve or something must open in the exhaust, or some kind of like audio feedback, and it makes the car seem a lot louder, like it gives it more of like a rumble and a roar. Like I said, I don't know whether you can hear that in here, but it definitely does. Like in comfort, it's pretty much silent, and then sport, it's quiet. Sport plus, we get a rumble. So aside from that, we have heated seats on the door, got all your window controls, electric mirrors, all that jazz. And then we have these really, really, really nice black leather seats. These are super comfortable, and may I add, that heated seat setting is red hot. I had it on the first one and it was absolutely boiling. So these heated seats are mega. They are electric, as you can see from down there, but one thing that is slightly confusing, to push it backwards and forwards, you do still have to do it with a handle, which, I don't know, that's Mercedes, not me. Moving into the back, got plenty of space here, 5 seats, really, really nice comfy leather. It's really just, you know, it's just simple but classic, but it just looks really nice. And then down here we do also have the climate control settings down here as well. And oh look, the ambient lighting has come on. How exciting. Coming into the boot, obviously it's electric, but there we go. Everything is still brand spanking new. It's even still got the plastic cover on there, which is amazing. But you've got a really, really nice, generous sized boot, and of course it's all electric. Lovely. So then everybody, you join me in the GLC. What can I say other than this is a nice place to sit, and I'm so chuffed because the ambient lighting's come on. I don't know what I've done to make it come on. I don't know whether it just decides to come on whenever it wants to, but it's come on and it looks bloody lovely in here now. We've got a nice hue of blue, purple and pink, which is, it's nice. What actually is this car? So it's a GLC300D, which, you see the 300s, you might think, oh, does that mean it's a 3 litre? No, it doesn't, it's a 2 litre. I was a bit like, it's a 2 litre diesel, it's pretty norm. But it's a 2 litre diesel that at standard puts out 242 brake horsepower, which is a lot for a standard 2 litre diesel engine. That's pretty cool, to be fair. I think it's about like 500 newton meters of torque. Now I can't tell you off the top of my head what that is in foot-pound. I'm gonna say it's about between 350 and 400 foot-pound, I guess. It's not slow by any means, but it's also not like the fastest little 4x4, because it's quite a weird size, this car. It's not like huge like the SQ7 that we drove like a few weeks ago now. That thing was like a tank. It was massive. It's smaller than a Range Rover Sport that we drove a couple of weeks ago as well. That thing again was obviously not as big as a normal Range Rover, but it was also not small at all. But this thing kind of sits in the middle. It's not small, but it's not big. It's kind of like a mid-sized car. I would say like the closest comparison to it would be like the Audi Q5, but it's still like a nice size as like a family car. Like this 100% would be like a really, really good everyday family car, because it's not obnoxiously big, but it's not tiny and inconvenient. So I really like this. It's got a really big boot, it's got loads of space in the back, and it's, you know, you've got loads of space here. There's like a massive centre console here. You know, the passenger seat doesn't feel like you're sat like this. As mentioned, 242 brake horsepower, pretty good, not bad at all. And there are also a few modes that you can put it in, which obviously you saw in the, why does the sun always come out when I start driving? There's a few modes like Sport, Sport Plus, Comfort. We're currently in Comfort, which I can confirm is comfortable. It's very quiet, it's very mellow, it's very tame, very easy to drive. It's nice. I'm going to keep it, I'm going to put it in Sport for now, and then we're going to go in Sport Plus in a minute, because I noticed something when we was looking around, and it was that when I put it in Sport Plus, the exhaust note changed. So most cars, when you put them in Sport, Sport Plus, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't necessarily make the car faster, but it makes the car, like, your throttle response will 9 times out of 10 become a little bit more responsive, and the exhaust might change note a little bit, it might become a little bit louder, you know, you might be able to rev a little bit higher, things like that. So yeah, we're gonna test out Sport Plus. What it's actually like to drive, it's really nice, really comfortable. It soaks up bumps and things like there's no tomorrow. It literally feels like you're floating along the road. Steering is super light, as I mentioned in the interior look around. I really like the steering wheel. It feels super nice. It's chunky. It's got, you know, like, it's very responsive. As you could probably imagine, the person behind me is probably now wondering if I'm drunk. I've got the paddles behind the steering wheel. Yeah, he's going to overtake me because he definitely thinks there's something wrong with me. The paddles behind the steering wheel, which is a nice addition because that's going to bring me onto something which I'm not a huge fan on Mercedes, and that is the gear selector. So obviously this car is automatic, which is lovely. It's a really nice automatic gearbox as well. It's super quick. You know, it's not sluggish in any way. But the gear selector, I hate it so much, and I know, like, it pains me to say it because I really like the car, but the gear selector is awful. But it's the same in all Mercedes. Like, every Mercedes is the same. If you've driven one, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the stupid little stalk behind the steering wheel. I don't know why Mercedes insist on putting this stupid stalk on their cars. Oh, it's so annoying. So instead of obviously having like a nice like gear lever that you can, you know, move about, you do have this stalk, which is in the place of where like a usual window wiper stalk would be, and that has proven to be a problem because it started raining earlier. I went to put the window wipers on and I accidentally, while I was driving, put the car into neutral, and then I was really confused as to why I was putting my foot down and the car wasn't going anywhere. It was just revving. I thought I'd broken it. I was like, oh my god, what is happening? Another reason why I'm not a biggest fan is obviously some cars you will be able to manually shift the car through the gear lever, even obviously when it's automatic, but with this you can't. You can only way you can do that is using the steering wheel paddles, which some people like, some people don't like. You know, I'm a bit on the fence in between. I do like steering wheel paddles, but I also do like being able to have a gear stick, and I keep putting my hand down here as well and not knowing where to put it because there's nothing really to put it on. Because I think as well, like, it's such like a nice, like, everything's so high-tech in here, it does feel a little bit strange to have the gear lever as just this really cheap basic looking stalk. So I don't know, but as far as gripes go, things that I'm not a huge fan of, I would say that is it really. The only other thing that I've noticed that is annoying me is the seat. So it's electric, so I can like adjust it electrically there, but to move it backwards and forwards you still have to do it on a lever, which I just think, what's the point? Like, why would you not just make that electric as well? So I feel like this is an appropriate time. We're going to put the car into Sport Plus. As I mentioned, this could do a number of things. I can only assume it's going to make it slightly more responsive, and maybe stiffen the suspension, like, you know, all that jazz, the exhaust. Noticing now I can't hear a massive change in the exhaust. Obviously when we was at idle there was like quite a big change between it being really quiet and then putting it into Sport Plus and it like making a bit more of a rumble, but as I'm driving I can't notice a huge difference. It does feel really responsive. Obviously you can get in some like diesel automatic cars and they feel quite sluggish, like coming off the mark and stuff, but this feels like really responsive. You don't have to like absolutely hammer the accelerator down to get anything out of it. While we're waiting for these Sunday drivers to move out of the way, let's have a look at what like miles per gallon and stuff we're getting. So from the last reset, which is saying was 409 hours ago, calculates in 409 hours, it's putting out 38.2 miles per gallon at the minute, which is pretty good. Obviously we only bought this car yesterday, so we don't have a massive clue on whoever was driving it before, what kind of driving they did, but 38.2 is a good figure. I think online it was saying that this car it usually averages at about 42, which is what you would expect from a 2-litre diesel, I suppose, and especially one of like that's quite a big car like this. I would say that's really good. And I'm sure you could probably squeeze some more out of it. But now we're on the good roads, so less about boring miles per gallon. Let's put it back in Sport Plus. Now we're going to downshift, so we're at 2.5, maybe one more, so we're at 3 grand now. Ready? Hey, do you know what? Bloody hell, that, I don't know, that surprised me. That was good. Respect. Good thing about this car is because it's only a 2-litre diesel, it only costs, I think, remembering off the top of my head, don't quote me, but it's about £140 a year to tax, which is not a lot at all, really, is it, when you consider it? Because, like I said, this thing it's not slow by any means. It's not like a slow, boring car. I can't really argue with that at all for a 240 brake horsepower diesel that, you know, can put out 40 miles per gallon if you wanted it to. To conclude, it's a bloody lovely car. It's really nice. You know, you can play about with it, you can have fun, but you can also daily drive it, and you can also burn your bum cheeks off. That is so hot. Oh my god. When I first got in it yesterday and just got some clips of it to go on the website, I was like, oh my god, look at this thing. It is literally just a big TV screen and fancy lights. But to be fair to it, I will give credit where credit is due. It is actually a really nice car, and I would say it's the perfect car for someone who wants something practical and, you know, nice and easy to drive, but also wants something that can be a little bit fun when it needs to be. I would say this is your car, 100%. Definitely go and consider driving one of these things.